guys, in this video I'll be showing you how to calibrate the TX-71. This is a thermocouple made in Israel, and what we'll use to calibrate this is a power supply, a multimeter, our thermocouple TX-71, and also a screwdriver and a multifunction process calibrator. So we'll go ahead and hook it up. We can follow also the diagram that is available on the PDF. I'll link that in the description of the video, and we just have to follow the diagram as it is there. And we'll turn on our power supply now, turn on our multimeter into milliamps, and now we're having a reading of 33.6 milliamps, and that is because we're not having any kind of signal coming to the RTD or thermocouple. Anyways, we have to turn it on, our multifunction process calibrator, and then we'll have to go to TC because that's what we're working with, a thermocouple or RTD. Then we'll change it to this is a K type. Right now you see this switches here, you have to configure those, and we're working with a K thermocouple. So right now we don't have anything coming from it. That's why we have 0 and we have no reading, because we're not using it as a source. So we'll click this button here and then change it to source. As you can see now, the reading in the multimeter in the ammeter is 3.20 milliamps. So we'll calibrate this thermocouple from 200 to 500 degrees Celsius. So we'll go ahead and input 200 degrees, and for 200 degrees Celsius we must have a reading of 4 milliamps. So right now we're having a reading of 4.03. So we need to get a screwdriver and adjust to 0 just a little bit. So as you can see, we're having 200 degrees Celsius and we have calibrated it for 4 milliamps. Now our maximum temperature will be 500 degrees Celsius, and we'll have to change it here. And for 500 degrees Celsius we must have a reading of 20 milliamps. So right now we're having a reading of 19.88. So we'll go ahead and adjust it a little bit. Until it gets to 20. There we go. So right now it's in 20 milliamps, which is the reading that we must have. In this part of the video, I will be showing you how to do our 5-point calibration test. And for that you would need to sit down and do some math. So for my specific case, I'm having 200 degrees and 500 degrees. So my span is 300 degrees Celsius. And the 5 points are 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, and 100%. So for each percentage, you will have a different reading in your temperature and also in the milliamps that you would have. So you would need to sit down and do the math, and I'll show you guys the readings in the multimeter and in our multifunction process calibrator. Now we'll do our 5 points calibration test, and for 260 degrees Celsius, which is what we have there, we need to have a reading of around 7.2 or 7.1 milliamps, and that is exactly what we have. If we move on to our 40%, then we see it's 320 degrees, so we'll have to increase this to 320. And in theory we should have a reading of about 10.4 milliamps. we're having 10.3 roughly. Then in our 60%, we have that the temperature should be 380 degrees. And that would give us a reading of around 13.64, and we're having a reading of 13.5, which is close. For 80%, we're having 440 degrees. So we'll go ahead and you put 440 degrees. In theory, we should have a reading of around 16.8 milliamps, and we have 16.76, which is very close. And our final reading, which is going to be 100%, which is 500 degrees, we must have 20 milliamps. And we do have 20 milliamps. So if you want to go back and check our LRV and our URV, so our lowest range value is going to be 200 degrees, so we'll have to go down to 200 degrees, and we have a reading of exactly 4 milliamps there. And for 500 degrees, we should have a reading of exactly 20 milliamps, and we do have that reading, which means that our calibration was made correctly, and we're able to move on with the next calibration. Thanks for watching.